The Houston Rockets just made a trade with the Brooklyn Nets to get the Phoenix Suns picks of the future. So Will and I are about to break that down right now. You're not going to want to miss this episode of the Bradeaux Show.
All right, y'all heard Brad on the intro. We got some breaking news finally for the Houston Rockets. They did get active today. A lot of people were kind of wondering what was going to transpire. We were, obviously for the longest time linked to Mikal Bridges, which, that was dated all the way back to, way before the trade deadline. It was like, is Houston going to make a swing for Mikal Bridges? Is that going to happen? Those trades trade talks obviously heated up a lot since the Rockets landed them with the overall pick. And it's like, hey, are they going to finally make a move for Mikal? And then today we got the Woj bomb that the New York Knicks traded, I want to say like 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. And so we the immediate reaction, I think, from everybody, Brad and myself included, was, okay, look, the Nets are going full rebuild mode and we got all the draft picks. Woj tweets me like 10 minutes later, wait a minute, those picks are actually going back to Brooklyn. So I have it pulled up. Basically, what we did today, for those of you, because I know it's a little confusing, so we're gonna break it down for you. Basically break down like what happened, and I don't know how Brad feels about it. I think it's probably a better move than I think we made a good move today. So I'm gonna break down why I believe. So I'll let Brad break down why he believes what he believes. But what we did, right? So it was essentially a 3-team trade. Mikal Bridges is headed to New York. And to facilitate this trade, right, because Brooklyn wasn't going to do this deal unless they got some of their draft capital back, which gives them the ability to tank. That's what they wanted to do. Trading Mikal Bridges without your draft picks was a little dicey. So now you have the ability to go full rebuild mode. So what happened is we gave Brooklyn back the 2025 Nets swap and the 2026 Nets first-round pick. And in return for that, we received a 2025 Suns first, a 2027 Suns first-round pick. My fault, I said that wrong. A 2025 first-round swap and a 2027 first-round pick. So we can swap in 2025. We downright own the Suns first-round pick in 2027. We also received a 2021 Suns or Mavs first-round swap, and then also a 2029 Suns or Mavs first-round pick. So what we essentially did was we traded a pick and a swap for 2 picks and 2 swaps. That's the root of what happened. You gave up 1 pick, 1 swap, 2 picks, 2 swaps. Potentially 3 of those swaps are coming from the Phoenix Suns. And then, there's another one coming in there via the Dallas Mavericks in 2029, right? So immediate reaction. Oh, and then there's also, I guess we should throw this in there too. When Woj broke the news, he mentioned that the Rockets might be in play for a Kevin Durant, which kind of, threw the whole TL into a frenzy. Devin Booker's name was floated out there. And I guess the idea behind that was that we pretty much own the Suns' future until 2029 now. So if something does, hit the fan for them in Phoenix, and they decide they want to hit the restart button, we kind of put them in the same position we just put Brooklyn in, where you have to come through us if you want to rebuild. And if it's kind of, actually, I didn't even realize it, Brad. It's the second time we're rooting for a Kevin Durant team to employ. The second time we're hoping Kevin Durant implodes the team. But if you're a betting man, right, just kind of looking at the way the Suns are situated, they don't have that many assets. They're already capped out. Bradley Beal is taking up a huge portion of their cap, and he's obviously not the caliber player that he's getting paid like. So a lot of people believe that the Suns are kind of where the Nets were a couple seasons ago, where it's like they're a ticking time bomb, and it's only a matter of time before it blows up. And then once again, if you're Houston, you now have their draft capital, so you can even leverage that to them and say, hey, give me a Kevin Durant, give me a Devin Booker in exchange for your draft capital back, because obviously the avenue to tank is more valuable to Phoenix than it would be to any other team. Or you can say downright, all right, look, we have these valuable Phoenix Suns picks, and we're going to trade these to this team or that team for insert star or insert caliber guys who, make sense for our team moving forward. So, yeah, I think that's all the news that pretty much came out that we heard, just concrete from what we have right now. Brad, just give me your reaction. What you think going on right now?
Yeah, I was just looking forward to the Rockets taking Reed tomorrow or potentially Don, and then we have this trade. So my initial thought was, Yeah, the Rockets they're banking on, the Brooklyn Nets, not the Brooklyn Nets. I'm so used to the Brooklyn Nets and
Yeah, we're so used to saying Nets. Yeah.
But yeah, they're looking for the Phoenix Suns to implode, and I like this idea. I even talked about it earlier on Twitter. I thought the Suns have a terrible outlook. You just got swept in the first round. You're a team with 3 superstars, but 2 of them, well, one is aging, and Kevin Durant still really good. Bradley Beal is regressing and aging, and they're under the second Abram tax. And with the NBA now, it's hard to improve when you're under that second apron, and they don't have any picks, any notable picks. And Will, correct me if I'm wrong, until 2031, I believe.
You talking about the Suns?
Correct. Right.
That sounds about right. Because they remember they moved all their draft picks to acquire Kevin Durant and then Bradley Beal, so they're kind of tapped out. Which is also why a lot of people believe that they're closer to imploding than they're not, because they don't really have that many assets to continue to further this roster.
Exactly, and it's another reason why the Rockets, it came out recently, they were trying to make this trade with Brooklyn before the trade deadline. They've been looking at Phoenix and they see, hey, yeah, this team doesn't have the best potential. And that first round exit that they just had, it really it speaks volumes to the future of that team and what's going to happen. I know a lot of people in league circles are thinking, okay, well, what happens next? Because if once one player wants out, then it's a huge domino effect. And that first player would ultimately probably be Kevin Durant, who was an aging guy, as we've said. If he wants out of there, then that's the only thing that matters. The Suns owner is content on making this work. He's a new owner to the team. He wants to work it out with those 3 guys. And he said it recently in his exit press conference. But Kevin Durant can force his hand in any scenario. He did it in Brooklyn. He could do it in Phoenix as well. And that's what would set this entire thing off. And that's what the Rockets are going to be waiting for. But yeah, the Rockets, as Will mentioned, they got that 2025 pick, 2027, and then also 2029. Looking from the Rockets standpoint right now, I don't believe any move is going to be made before the trade deadline. I could be wrong, and this could age terribly. I don't think it will, personally. I'll be interested to see if it does. But the Kevin Durant news, it's not going to happen this offseason. They would let it play out at least one more year and then see what's up. And even then, I don't know if the Rockets are interested in the deal this next offseason. I believe, and Ben Dubose did a good job of talking about this on Twitter. Shout out to him. This is a move for Devin Booker in the future. If that's open, it's an avenue to potentially get Devin Booker, because if the Nets are going down bad and KD's out and they just want to tank, the Rockets have their picks. They're giving them the easiest out. They have a strong package. They got some young guys if they wanted to get Devin Booker. They don't even need to do that in the future. If their young guys are doing well and you want to max them out, like Şengün and Jalen Green and the rest of the young core is doing well, just have extra assets now that'll be extremely well, because I personally do not believe Phoenix is going to be a good team for that much longer, especially when it's time for KD to make that decision, if he wants to force a trade or just leave outright. So I like the trade. It would have been nice to keep that 2025. On the contrary, yes, it would have been nice to keep that 2025 Brooklyn swap. We all wanted Cooper Flag and Houston potentially. And that class has had a ton of talent. There's a lot of guys in that 2025 class, not even just Cooper itself. But yeah, now we're switching from Brooklyn's downfall to Phoenix's downfall. So that's essentially what just happened. And my recap is we're going to see what happens in the future. And I don't believe there's another trade going to happen before the draft tomorrow. The question is, do they take Don, or is it going to be Reed? It looks like it's been singled out to those 2 guys. It's going to come down to if Atlanta takes Don or Risa Shea, But yeah, those are my thoughts. Draft-wise, Will, what are we feeling at number 3? You thinking they move the pick or they stay there and take one of those guys?
Ben DeBose said that this does not have any impact on what they do tomorrow. So I think my bet is that it's going to be Reed Shepherd. I think he's going to be the Rocket, which will be back here to cover the draft, obviously, after that all shakes out. But yeah, to discuss the trade, for me, I first wanted to say that I think that Brooklyn deserves their flowers for how they maneuvered this trade. I think that they did it. I think that they did as perfect of a job as you can ask for. I think that they somehow flipped Mikal Bridges for something that I don't think he was worth. They essentially got. I'm looking at. They got 4 unprotected first round picks, a protected pick via the Bucks, and then a swap in a second, along with Bojan Bogdanovic for Mikal Bridges. Which, Mikal Bridges is a great player. We talked about wanting him on the Rockets. I would have loved him here. I don't know if I like him for this price, but if I'm New York, I understand why you make that move. You kind of struck gold with the Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo things. So go ahead and finish the Villanova uh, four by bringing Mikal Bridges over there. You know what I'm saying? They still want to retain OG Anunoby, so now you're bringing that guy back. That team could be a force to be reckoned with. I don't know how far they get, but I understand why they made the deal. Like I said, for Brooklyn, flipping Mikal Bridges for this return, I think is A1. And I think that was even without knowing what they do next, which we know what they do next is they then get their own picks back, which for me, like I said, chef's kiss, that's perfect. Now you've given yourself a lot of assets to add to your already, vault of assets. Then you get your own draft picks back. So now you don't have to worry about, well, what happens if we bottom out next year, which is probably going to be the goal for them. You get to reap the benefits of that because you have your own draft picks back. In 2025, as Brad touched on, the Cooper Flag draft, Ace Bailey, it's a really talented draft class that a lot of people are really, really excited for. You position yourself to pick at the top of that class next season. So, like I said, I think they knocked it out the park. For the Rockets, straight up, like the KD thing, that was the thing that came out. We have heard from some people who were pretty tapped in that that's probably not gonna happen. Like KD is probably, if he asks out, it probably won't be this summer, and it probably won't be to the Rockets. Even though we do know there's a somewhat of a connection between Kevin Durant and Ime Udoka and the Rockets, but that's probably not going to happen this summer, if ever. And my thing with that is, even if it was, I'm not really sure how I feel about moving your assets to go out and acquire Kevin Durant. If this was Kevin Durant 3-4 seasons ago, I would be all over this. Like, obviously one of the best players of our generation, can be the best player on the team that wins the whole thing. Like, I would have absolutely no problem trying to build a contender around Kevin Durant 3-4 years ago, but he's, I believe, 35, going to be 36 really soon.
Right.
I question how much time he has left playing at the best of his ability, playing at this top 10 player level. And when you do trade for Kevin Durant on that, like for a player of that caliber, you're not trading for Kevin Durant to be, not to play the Dillon Brooks role. He's not coming here to facilitate development. He's coming here to win a championship. So that now means you have assuming that he only plays 2 more seasons at a high level, you give yourself a 2-year window to put together a team that can win the whole thing. And so that means you're probably just letting go of a lot of your young pieces, a lot of your draft capital to, fill that competitive roster. And I just don't think we're ready for that. And even if we were, even if we do think we're ready for it, I don't know if Kevin Durant is the guy that I want to shake things up for. Because like I said, I don't know how much time he has left, in the league, let alone playing at the level that we know he can play at. So I would personally sit out a Kevin Durant trade. For some of the reasons, I'm sitting out a Jimmy Butler or a Paul George trade, especially because those guys are going to want major paydays. And now you're paying, 37, 38-year-old Paul George, Jimmy Butler, $60+ million a year. Don't think they're going to be worth that much money. So, for some of the reasons, I'm going to sit those trades out. But like I said, it doesn't sound like that's kind of what the Rockets are headed towards after making this move. It kind of sounds more like, and that's why I say it's a good thing. It sounds like all they did here was just pick up more assets and then the delay when they convey, right? Because we still have the 2027 net swap, right? So that's another good thing. We still have the net swap in 2027, right? So all we did was we added more assets and then just delayed them out to the future, which gives, if you're somebody who's like really, really wanting to see what this young core can do, it's kind of music to my ears. Like I said, I don't think they'll make a move this summer. Jonathan Fagan, I'm someone who thinks that Fagan is probably the most trusted source in the entire Rockets community. Whenever he says something, I tend to believe it's going to happen. And he tweeted he had up an article, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, that pretty much said like they're not going to make that many changes this summer. They're kind of going to run it back for the most part. So if you're someone who was like me, team run it back, this trade should be music to yours, because all this does is it pretty much lets the young core decide what happens next offseason, right? If Jalen and Şengün and these guys who, we know can hopefully will lead this team to the future, if they take that next step, they take that leap and get this team over the hump, start showing signs of we can build around these guys, then all we did today was just increase the amount of assets we have to build around those two guys, or I said those two, Jalen and Şengün, but just anybody we have in the young core. We give ourselves more assets to build around them in the future, right? But what it also does is it also gives you a safety net. Let's say, for example, that Jalen Green or Şengün or whoever else you want to think of, let's say they don't take that leap. And it's like, all right, like we're a bit further than we thought we were. Maybe these guys aren't the guys that we thought they were. Maybe we need to go out there and acquire somebody else. Maybe a Devin Booker who he's what, 26, 27 right now. So he'll still be in his prime next summer, summer after that. And he's someone who's obviously really, really talented. I think Booker's a top 10 player in the NBA when he's healthy, when he's playing at the best of his ability. And so like next summer, you're like, look, we gave it a chance with these guys and it's not really going the way we want it to. Instead of trying to like hammer it out with them, we can go ahead and cash in some of these picks that we got, particularly with the ones with Phoenix, who like I said, if things start going south for them, which if you're a betting man, they probably will be, you can now leverage that, say, all right, give me a Devin Booker, who, like I said, I think can be a player that you build around for the future. Or like I said, you can either use that and go get somebody else. Let's say, because we have a Dallas pick, right? Who's to say Luka Doncic doesn't say he wants out in a couple of seasons of, if the Mavericks continue not to be able to get over the hump, right? Or Tatum just won, so I doubt he's going to be out anytime soon. But there's, that how the NBA works, there's always going to be some star who's going to want out from his team. And we have Ime Udoka, who like we know concretely players want to come play for. We're in a city that, no state income tax, all that good stuff. Like we're going to be able to attract superstars when they become available. So all this does is, like I said, if our young guys take care of business, which way we hope they can, cool. That we can just like how OKC kind of uses their draft picks to just build around their core of SGA, Jalen, Williams, Shet, like stuff like that. We can do the same thing with this. But if that doesn't happen and like these guys will take that leap, we can just use these assets to go pick up someone who could, be our SGA, be our star player moving forward. So to me, like I said, I think the initial reaction to losing the Nets picks right after they blew it up was like, man, like they're going to be really good and we just let them go. But I think in the larger plan of things, I think it makes sense. Like I said, I think that there's a really, really good chance that we're in a similar situation in 2 seasons with the Phoenix Suns. I think they're on the verge of implosion. Just like even if it's not from the fact that they're a disappointment in terms of not being able to win a championship. Man, Kevin Durant is, like I said, how many years does he have left? How many years does Bradley Beal have left? And we had these guys draft capital until 2029. Like there's a really, really good chance that Suns are not good by 2029. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was a good trade. I think we walk out. I think everybody who traded today is happy with what happened. I think the Knicks are happy. I know the Nets are happy. And
Knicks
if I'm a Rockets fan,
they're definitely happy.
Yeah, if I'm a Rockets fan, I'm obviously happy with it too. For me, like I said, I love this trade so long as we stay put. I don't want to see any real major moves this offseason. I think that we do need to give the young guys one more season. They won 41 games for us last year. So, just with natural progression, I think we're going to be better than that this season. I want to give them one more year to show us what they're made of, particularly a guy like Jalen Green, who is, kind of wishy-washy. We don't know what we're going to get from him. Give him one more year to show us, okay, this is who you are. We can make a decision on him from then. But yeah, I think the time to strike would be next offseason.
And I'll say this real quick. Yeah, it would be next offseason. I really don't think the Rockets are enticed or have a reason to extend Alperen Şengün or Jalen Green this offseason. It's not that they don't necessarily believe in them, but going forward, they might as well wait one season just to have that flexibility going into next offseason and see what they necessarily want to do. I do think Şengün will get extended eventually, depending on how Jalen comes out, him as well. And I'm pretty sure that's what Will was going into as well. But yeah, next offseason is going to be the time for them to necessarily make a move. If that's what they want to do. If they want a big game plan, they do have a ton of salary still to work with. But yeah, I think that next offseason is the time where it's going to get interesting for Houston. They stay put this year. They already have a solid core of 9, not a core, but a solid lineup of 9 right now. You could add Reed tomorrow, make it 10, and you see what they do tomorrow. As Will said, they won 41 last year, 19 game improvement. They push it up to 45, 50 this upcoming year, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I 100% agree with what Will's saying. A good deal. It's going to depend on how Phoenix ends up, but the bet worked with the Brooklyn Nets before, and I truly believe it'll work with the Phoenix Suns too. So, yeah, no, I think Will's completely right. Is that what you were going to end up saying as well, Will, going into next offseason?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like I said, just from this, it just gives you I think no matter what avenue you want to take with rebuilding this Rockets roster, I think this trade helps you accomplish that. If you want to lean fully into the young guys and you believe we have the guys who are going to take us to the promised land, this trade puts you in a position to where you have more assets to build around that group of guys. Conversely, if you don't think we have that group of guys, this trade puts us in a position to trade for someone who wants to get out, namely, right, a Devin Booker, who, like I said, is a young player, a youngish player. He's not young anymore, but he's entering his prime, obviously. Who's really good, already led the team to the finals before. You can kind of leverage your way into trading for him or trading for somebody else who asks out, right? Like you just kind of put yourself in a position to have the best of both worlds, no matter where you are. And I think it kind of just puts the onus on the young guys, right? They get to dictate what happens for this franchise moving forward. So yeah, I think we can keep it there. I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about. I know it was like a really confusing trade at first, and like what happened, what did we do? But I think when you kind of break it down, it's not that complicated. So yeah, I think this is a good trade. I know people are gonna be a little bummed out that we're no longer in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, but something tells me I think this gamble is going to work out for us, just the same way it worked out for us. What was that 3 years ago we traded James Harden? So
yeah,
I like the move. I'll love it even more if tomorrow Reed Shepard wears a Rockets uniform and we kind of move on from there, which is what I think is going to happen anyways. But yeah, that's it for me.
It's it for me as well. That noise with Marcus Smart died out really quickly. The Rockets moving down to 9, and getting Marcus, that's not going to happen. So yeah, as Will said, I'm confident they go with Reed or Don. Hopefully, Reed, in my personal opinion, I think Don will be phenomenal, but I don't like the idea again of having a backup 5 for the foreseeable future, because Şengün is going to be getting those minutes, and they personally won't be able to play together in my eyes. But we'll see what happens. Fun trade today, and we'll see what happens with the Suns in the future. We're rooting on their downfall now, so it's going to be interesting.
We gotta. I don't know if there's a Suns Twitter, but we got to start beefing with him. Like
There is. I forget his name, but there is one big face on.
Yeah, you talking about RB? I think it's his name.
He's one. There's another one too. It's like Andrew Leisha or something.
Yeah, Lisa's. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, so
we're gonna have some engagement.
I said the beef with Nets Twitter is done. Like Brad said, we will be back
tomorrow night, probably.
Either tomorrow night or today's Wednesday, so either Thursday night or Friday morning.
For y'all, these will be uploaded in the morning, correct? Right.
Yeah, so breaking down what happened with the 2024 NBA draft. Like, hopefully we're bringing Reed Shepard home. We're gonna break down obviously whoever we draft and what that means for us if we make any trades. That'll get broke down. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I think that'll do it for this episode.